Hey family, it's Dr. Ariana here, and I just finished taping this episode, and it's around really, I'll call it the how I built this story around Tula Wellness and aesthetics, but it's also an invitation for you to think about your journey and where you are and where you might be having some resistance and giving you permission to explore a little bit more. And so I share a bit about my journey and how I started out basically just escaping corporate medicine, having no idea what I was doing from a business standpoint, and being a part of my own movement to create a space for women, a space that I really just would want for myself, an experience that I would want patients to have. I'm still tweaking that. I'm still working on that. I still think that there's more and that we can all evolve. And how Tula evolved was me stepping off away from a very traditional path. I was practicing high risk obstetrics and was very, very clinical, very much around procedures and C-sections and managing a lot of high risk. But at the end of the day, it wasn't feeding my soul the same way. There were years where I loved, pregnant women and taking care of them. And then I didn't. So my journey through Tula is another invitation for you to consider your journey on and maybe through things that you aren't sure about and questions that you may have for yourself, but know that you won't know without stepping out and stepping on the path and seeing for yourself. So I appreciate you all. Don't forget to like and subscribe and to do all of the things. I appreciate your comments and the love, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Stay Juicy podcast. I am your host, Dr. Ariana, and I've been feeling inspired to share what we've created at Tula Wellness and how it has evolved. I wish I could say I just had this beautiful vision in my mind and I knew exactly what it was going to be. And no, I did not. In fact, I left corporate medicine. I left a very well-paying job to be an entrepreneur and to really not have a very clear understanding of what that meant when I endeavored. Let me tell you, it has been a journey and it has been an evolution, but part of that evolution really has come just as a response to what I know, what I see women need. And everything that has evolved there literally has evolved as a result of a patient need, a patient request, and a way that I wanted to answer that need. One of the first machines I got was actually a Coolsculpting machine. And I mean, at that point, I was really just kind of like a gynecologist, but practicing more functional integrative medicine. And I didn't quite know exactly what we were doing here, but it was like, people were asking, do you have this service? How does this work? And the demand was there. And so I thought, oh, well, people like it. And at the end of the day, practicing medicine is a very different animal. In terms of having a practice that practices medicine versus a practice that can offer other services that people are willing to pay cash for. I mean, that's really the only reason that Tula really can exist. And so quite literally, the medical aspect of it, the patient forward part, seeing all the women, that has never honestly paid for itself. It has literally been a labor of love. And I have lovingly and not so lovingly called it my community service. But I have felt so passionate about what I wanted and care for women that I just wasn't willing to settle. And even if that meant a hit on my business. And so, I guess in retrospect, some people you could argue that perhaps I did not need to be as passionate about this. But at the end of the day, I think it has helped propel me to kind of stay really still focused on that goal and staying very genuine to that mission, which is just to help women through all the phases. Tula means balance in Sanskrit, and it just rung with me. As soon as I heard that word, I knew I felt like I wanted a Sanskrit word. And when I saw the Tula and I saw the meaning of it, it just completely resonated. And so Tula was born. And it was Tula initially. It was not Tula Wellness and Aesthetics. It was Tula Wellness. And then I had a woman who was working as an esthetician. So we were just doing facials. And then from the facials, people were like, hey, can you do my Botox? And I was like, yeah. So I went and I learned how to do Botox. Then it was like, oh, well, what about the rest of my face? And so I just started learning, and I knew nothing about aesthetics. Literally 15 years ago, I could not have told you where anybody put Botox in their face, why they would put it there. None of this was a thing for me. And so talk about evolution. It has been all of that. So how I built this story, it was not pretty, but it was fabulous. It was all that it needed to be to get me to this point right now. And I am evolving myself. I'm evolving as a business owner, evolving with my spiritual practice. And as I am approaching 60 in a few months, I am really being intentional about how I'm evolving and what I'm trying to accomplish and creating that vision for myself. And so I invite you on this journey as well to create that vision for yourself and realize that sometimes you're not even going to have the vision. Like you have no idea, but you just have a knowing that you need to start that thing. You need to do that thing. And I'm just saying that here is permission to just go do the thing and know that it may not even look anything like what you started out, but just the fact that you got on the path, that's it. I think part of what can make the journey so challenging is when we resist what our spirit is telling us to do, what it is saying. And that resistance, it creates an energy and a discomfort and irritation. And I think that's real. So Tula has evolved as I have evolved, as my interaction with patients and clients has evolved, as my being able to understand what it actually means to be a businesswoman has completely evolved. And I'm so excited that I finally, put my big girl panties on. It feels so much better. Let me just tell you, I got my big girl business panties on now, and we are just going to get it. We got it. It's there. But let me tell you, I talk a lot about what Tula gives, but I can honestly say that my interaction with patients is what feeds me. And it is always such a relief. And I see that relief with patients when they feel the ability to discuss what sometimes feels like taboo topics. And, I can answer them as a medical professional, but those are the same questions that sometimes I ask myself and I don't even have the answers to. And so it helps me in my own exploration. Every encounter I have is really for me another invitation to ask myself, like, are you going deep enough? It's just another invitation to see how someone else is living. And when you see that, when you see those glimpses of joy, or even when you see the suffering, you just know that both of those worlds really exist and that how you feel is real. And so it's been a gift to me. And I know that it's been a gift to patients because I can again I've seen the relief of a woman just knowing that she is not alone. And it's like, where are you going to ask these questions? Like there's just not a space where it's easy for us as women to really find out what's going on. Like nobody's really talking about it. And if you're talking about it, then you're like, maybe you're a little out there. So I'm not even going to lie. I mean, I think there's a certain just judgment that I know that I have. I'll speak for myself around just maybe what we have been accustomed to, but now just like being able to kind of shed some of that and be like, oh, but actually, maybe I can do that. Maybe I do want to try. And so this has been a journey for both the doctor and the patient, and it's what feeds me. And the older I get, like, I love seeing women because the older I get, I just realize how amazing women are. And I mean, this has nothing to do with anything around a man. I'm just talking about how awesome women are. I'm just looking around like, we're kind of doing the thing here. But there's so many elements that we don't get to be free around, that we don't really have that space to discuss. And even here, I am myself treading lightly with the topics around Stay Juicy, because I have to explore even myself, like where and how comfortable I am even having those conversations. And so it's been interesting. I thought sometimes that I might be able to go further. And so I'm realizing that I have to, question some of my own belief systems, or really just ask myself, how freely am I really thinking about some of these things? And it's been good. It's been good for all of us. But this is a space that ultimately was created to allow for women to do their own evolving, and to be in a space where it really is about uplifting them and helping them live their best lives. And I take so seriously the choices we make, even for our staff and providers. And I'm so blessed because, there's just an energy. Our clients, patients say it all the time. They walk in and there's just an energy in this space. And so my job as owner, CEO, whatever it is, it's for me, it's just all about the energy and what that needs to feel like. And so that is literally a topic at staff meeting of the culture and what we're here to do, and for us to be of service. And it really wasn't meant to be a advertisement, but let me tell you, I am so excited because I go places in around the city, and it just warms my heart because so many people have approached me and said, "Oh, Tula, I've been there. My friends go there, and it's such a great place." And they just had beautiful things to say. I didn't do this for that, but to know that it had that much meaning and impact in someone's life, that means a lot to me. So that's my purpose. That's what gets me up in the morning. That's what excites me. I want to really close out with some things that you can consider for yourself on your own journey, because at the end of the day, it is all about the journey. Part of this evolution for me at Tula has been my experience in functional medicine, and especially really understanding how we can support our bodies, how we can heal ourselves with our innate ability to heal ourselves. And although I don't practice functional medicine in the purest form, the philosophy is of a functional medicine mindset and an integrative medicine mindset, which I actually did study integrative medicine here at the University of Arizona. But in any case, that kind of understanding really led me into the world of understanding more about supplements, how they actually support us, certain nutrients, deficiencies, how all of this really impacts our body, and how we can use them really as holistically as we would use any other medication, on a good day, using them in a way that hopefully allowed us to not have to even take certain medications. So I think that I always had a desire to make sure that whatever supplement I recommended for a patient, like I wanted to do that research. I wanted to talk to the representative, understand like why this supplement, where is its source? Like, what does any of that mean? I didn't even know that for myself. I had to learn. And through learning, I was like, oh, wow, like all supplements are not made equal. And there's a lot of trash out there. And so I've always had medical grade supplements in the office, but I've always wanted to curate my own line of supplements that really spoke to really the key things that I think, especially for women, that are important. So something as simple as iron, and omega-3s and vitamin D and probiotics, just your very simple basics, and ones that are also helpful for women who are working with trying to manage their weight, looking at ways to support energy, and to even decrease appetite. So all the things that we can do as holistically, as naturally as we can, promote that, even though I go full spectrum. It's like, yes, we can do food elimination diet. We can do really have a really robust supplement plan, or we can do GLPs. Like, we can do all of that. You show up, you tell us what it is that resonates with you. And so at the end of the day, that's what we're going to offer. And that's what I also just love about that delivery from us to you, that honestly and earnestly, it is from the heart, and it is from the purest place that I can be. And I am just very grateful that I get a chance to express that, just to have that expression of love. And that's what Tula ultimately is my expression of love. And as we get older, as we go on this journey, it is about finding what those expressions of love look like for you. And how are you going to do that and not holding back on doing those things? Because I promise you, the leap that I took to start this practice and the journey that it has been, I have to say it has not been easy. And I more than alluded to that. So I'm probably like, okay, girl, we got the hint. It wasn't easy. It wasn't. But here we are. And I'm so glad I did it, because it would have been a regret if I hadn't. And even though I've technically lost a lot in certain ways, I've gained so much in ways, and I'm confident that it's all still going to work out, and I'll still be able to provide more expressions of how we love to take care of women and take care of you. So I know that totally was like a shameless plug. I mean, the whole podcast was absolutely a shameless plug. I'm not going to lie. It was not intended per se to be that, but I just want y'all to know what I'm doing over here and how it's really going down and how much this mission of taking care of you all means to me. So I appreciate those of you who are listening that have been our patients, our clients, who have crossed our paths in any way. You have, in one way or another, supported and just taught me how to even just be my best. Being able to experience all the things that have happened as a result of having the vision of Tula has really been, I would say, the highlight of my life in terms of any of my accomplishments. Thank you for indulging me yet again. For those of you who made it to the end, I hear that that is one way that we judge how long your audience actually goes to the end of the podcast. So I'm not even going to ask. But if y'all want to just give me a little shout out and say you got to the end, just even if you did, just go ahead and put it in the comments. As usual, stay brilliant, stay beautiful, but most of all, stay juicy. Juicy lives, juicy experiences, and yes, even juicy vaginas. I'll see you on the next one.